Time for tonight's rewrite. Perennial presidential candidate Ron Paul is trying to spin the success he had this weekend in one hotel ballroom in New Orleans into success as a national candidate for the Republican presidential nomination. Congressman Paul won the straw poll at the Republican Leadership Conference in New Orleans on Saturday with 612 votes. John Huntsman came in second, which will surely be the high point of the Huntsman campaign when he writes his memoirs. Michelle Bachmann came in third, Herman Cain was fourth, and the frontrunner in all of the polls, Willard M. Romney, came in fifth. Tim Pawlenty, who has a better chance than any of them of actually getting the nomination, came in dead last. Any poll, straw or otherwise, that indicates Ron Paul has a better chance of becoming president than Tim Pawlenty is, of course, an ignorable absurdity. Experienced election observers are not prepared to change Ron Paul's status from fringe candidate to contender, but all of us should be very glad that Ron Paul stays in this race. Here's why.
Congressman Paul, you say that the federal government should stay out of people's personal habits. You say marijuana, cocaine, even heroin should be legal if states want to permit it. You feel the same about prostitution and gay marriage. Are you suggesting that heroin and prostitution are an exercise of liberty?
Well, you know, I probably never used those words. You put those words someplace. But, yes, in essence, if I leave it to the states, it's going to be up to the states. Up until this past century, you know, for over 100 years they were legal. What you're inferring is, you know what? If we legalized heroin tomorrow, everybody's going to use heroin. How many people here would use heroin if it was legal? I bet nobody would put the hand, oh, yeah, I need the government to take care of me. I don't want to use heroin, so I need these laws.
I never thought heroin would get applause here in South Carolina.
It's more typical of an authoritarian government to have secret prisons. So therefore, I don't think it serves our purpose. We have tried nearly 300 suspects in civilian courts, and hundreds of them have been convicted and put away. So why are we afraid of openness? We should treat people the way we think we might be treated under dire circumstances.
So just to be clear, the three of you under individual case-by-case basis would support waterboarding. Congressman Paul, you would not.
No, I would not.
And Governor Johnson, you would not.
Anything.
Congressman Paul, in 2007, in an interview, you were asked, should gays be allowed to marry? You said, quote, sure, they can do whatever they want and call it whatever they want. Are you advocating legalizing gay marriage in this country?
Well, matter of fact, I spent a whole chapter in a new book I've written on marriage, and I think it's very important, and seeing that I've been married for 53, 54 years now, but I think the government should just be out of it. I think it should be done by the church or private contract, and we shouldn't have this argument, who's married and who isn't married. I have my standards, but I shouldn't have to impose my standards on others. Others have standards, and they have no right to impose their marriage standards on me.
Ron Paul should rewrite his bumper sticker. It shouldn't say Ron Paul for president, because he's not really running for president. What he's running for, he's actually succeeding at. What he's running for is American political myth buster. He is showing us, to Chris Wallace's amazement and to mine, that heroin can get applause on a Republican presidential debate stage in South Carolina. And without Ron Paul in this race, we would never hear one sensible thing said about marriage equality on a presidential debate stage. Ron Paul is wrong about the debt ceiling. He's wrong about taxation. He's wrong about government spending. He's wrong about many, many things, but he's right about some very important things. And no American politician is in a position to change more minds about marriage equality than Ron Paul. He is not speaking to the converted. He is speaking to conservative Republicans. He is speaking to evangelical Christians. He is going into the halls of the staunchest opponents of marriage equality in this country, and he is telling them a truth so clear and so powerful that he is surely changing minds. He may not be changing minds instantaneously. That's not the way we change our mind. But he is planting the seed. He is putting memorable words into the most resistant minds. His audiences may not be able to admit it right away, but he is surely shaking the confidence of some in their rigid, inhumane opposition to marriage equality. Ron Paul is an imperfect man, as are we all, but he is the perfect messenger to deliver the marriage equality message to the least willing to hear it, to those who would never listen to what a liberal has to say about marriage equality or what a Democrat has to say about it. I, for one, hope Ron Paul is the last man standing against the eventual nominee in the Republican campaign. As soon as his presidential campaign microphone is turned off, he will return to the quiet life of an ignorable member of Congress. And eloquence, decency, and political bravery on the issue of marriage equality will disappear from the presidential campaign.